Yes! Hey everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist. Now before we start today's episode, one quick announcement. Next Wednesday, which is the date on screen, with the address on screen, with the details on screen, I will be hosting a Pokken tournament alongside Alex Fossiani and PokeKels from the decks. We're going to be there to host the event. It's going to be at Bros Game Shop where we shot the intro for Mirror's Edge. So if you want to compete in the tournament, or if you want to come down and buy some old games, we'll be there. We'll take photos all day. We're actually going to be having these bad boys, Big Bad Boss CDs. We just got these fresh off the truck. We'll sell these and sign these too. So come on by. Grand prize wins. Like $450? I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. Come on down. It's going to be a good time. Come say hello. We'll see you there. Almost exactly a year ago this time, we completed Uncharted 1 here on the show. So, with Uncharted 4 almost being near, I thought I'd take the time for myself to move on a little bit more forward in the Uncharted franchise. Because you do it in order. I don't know why. Why would you do 1 then 3? I don't think it makes sense. Storytelling. This is the ocean. I don't know what this is. Could be dragons, kites, I don't know. Start the video, please. When Uncharted: Drake's Fortune was revealed to the world, people were a bit skeptical of developer Naughty Dog's ability to produce anything other than stylized platformers. But when players got their hands on the game for the first time, they saw just how much developer Naughty Dog was capable of and immediately wanted more. And Drake's dashing good looks didn't hurt things either. In fact, there are probably a lot of people out there who picked up the game just because of his good looks. And hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just really damn impressive. When planning out a sequel, Naughty Dog's ambitions were sky high. They wanted to improve on just about every single aspect of the original game. If you can name it, they probably wanted to make it better. Not only that, Naughty Dog also wanted to redefine just what an Uncharted game was, with their inclusion of brand new modes and features. They weren't looking to play it safe just by recreating what brought them success. They were taking some risks and pushing both the PlayStation 3's hardware and themselves to the limit, all so they could deliver a package that would blow people away. And that's exactly what Uncharted 2 did when it was released in 2009. The game received universal praise for its deep gameplay, immersive story, and somehow managing to make Drake look even better. So goddamn handsome. It earned a crap ton of Game of the Year awards, and some consider it to be one of the best games of all time. Uncharted 2 delighted just about everyone who got their hands on it, and I am so excited to try it for the first time, especially considering how much I liked the first one. And say what you will about the recent glut of HD remasters that we've been getting, but it sure makes replaying old games much easier and so much prettier. Since I'm playing Uncharted 2 by the way of the Nathan Drake collection for PlayStation 4, which includes 1080p 60fps versions of the first 3 Uncharted titles, the game has never looked or run better. However, as a heads up, some features were added in this port of the game, while others were removed. 1080p 60fps. Those numbers are slowly becoming my favorite numbers in gaming. Everything should get a 1080p 60fps update, or at least created with that in mind. Give them out like candy. It worked for DuckTales, Mass Effect, I'm in. Super Mario Sunshine, oh my god, hell yeah. Final Fantasy VII. Oh wait, they're remaking that in HD. Awesome, I'm in. Yeah, it's gonna be 1080p 60fps on your face. Superman 64? Burn it in hell. Burn it right in the fires. That is wrong. Never do that. Fire that guy's kids, and then fire his grandkids just to make sure they don't come back. Uncharted 2 opens right in the middle of the action, with Drake waking up, bleeding heavily, and realizing that he's in a train which is dangling perilously over the edge of a snowy cliff. I've heard of cult openings before, but this is ridiculous. No? Anyone? Alright. After barely climbing to safety, Drake passes out in the snow, and we're treated to a flashback of previous events. Drake's doing a little solo drinking when he's approached by his old friend and winner of 2009's Most Untrustworthy Man Award, Harry Flynn. Flynn tries to recruit Drake into a heist, in which the plan is to steal an old oil lamp that belonged to Marco Polo.
Marco,
From a heavily guarded museum in Istanbul, Harry then introduces Drake to his partner Chloe Frazer, who, unbeknownst to Harry, is actually Drake's ex-lover. Scandalous. Drake agrees to do the job, believing that the lamp could lead to Marco Polo's famed lost fleet of ships, which supposedly carried Scrooge McDuck amounts of riches when they vanished off the face of the earth. The three of them successfully break into the museum and acquire the lamp, which contains a blank piece of paper and a special blue resin. But when that resin is burned, it emits an eerie blue light that reveals the piece of paper is actually a map to the lost fleet, which is somewhere near Borneo. But that's not all. According to the map, Marco Polo and his crew found and visited the mythical kingdom of Shambhala. Drake begins to practically salivate when he realizes that the Cintimani Stone, a jewel fabled to possess immense power and value, might be among the treasures on those ships. And to absolutely no one's surprise, Flynn double-crosses Drake the moment he learns all this, leaving Drake to get busted by the authorities. After spending 3 months doing hard time, our hero is sprung out from prison by his old partner, Victor Goddamn Sullivan, and Chloe. She's still posing as Flynn's girlfriend and reports that Flynn, along with an entire private army led by a badass former Soviet intelligence operative known as Zoran Lazarevich, still haven't found the Cintimani Stone. Now, Drake, Sully, and Chloe, who's acting as a mole in Lazarevich's party, are going to travel to Borneo and steal the stone right out from under the bad guys' noses. With a premise like this, we're bound to get a story that's full of adventure and excitement. It's this type of game that makes me not only love the storytelling medium of gaming, but appreciate adventure films that much more. You all saw Indiana Jones, right? It was great. The Mummy with Brendan Fraser? Come on, that was awesome. National Treasure? Seriously, I like National Treasure. I don't know why people criticize me on that. It's a good time. Nicolas Cage is hilarious, but it's a good movie. Objectively. The second one, I'm kind of there.
Wrong about us, wrong about Thomas Gates, wrong that you'd like the Queen Anne chair.
Speaking of movies, Uncharted 2 draws a whole lot of its presentational style from cinema. Real talk, if you sat your gram down and made her watch you play, she'd probably ask you the name of that movie. That's just how immersive this game is. Now, this isn't a new thing for video games, but Uncharted 2 is so immersive that it takes the cinematic style in games to a whole new level. From its vast vistas to its claustrophobic catacombs, the game's locations and background work are often breathtaking. Establishing a strong sense of place is important in a story that jet sets its characters all over the world. And in Uncharted 2, the devil is in the details. Details like the ornate designs on the walls of the temples or the way the ice glistens in the frozen caverns are easier than ever to enjoy due to the game's HD makeover. The characters also look super clean, and now I want to hang out with Nathan Drake more than ever. The facial animations in the original Uncharted were already impressive, but now they only further help to make you forget that you're playing a game. Nathan Drake is real, my friends. He's real. The game's score is once again exquisitely arranged, kicking in at just the right moments and accentuating both the action sequences and the calmer moments incredibly well. And the voice acting is just stellar.
I'm getting too old for this bullshit.
The voice actors really make their characters come to life and seem like real people, which is kind of a feat in the video game. The best moments of this are when the characters are chatting with one another during actual gameplay, rather than during cutscenes.
Don't stop! No!
Don't get me wrong, the cutscenes are phenomenal, but hearing the characters converse while you're still in control of them makes them seem that much more alive, or at least like fully fleshed out characters. But I'd say the unsung hero of Uncharted 2's presentation is the camera. Depending on your actions, the camera is constantly shifting to give you the best angle, much like a director. Instead of being locked behind Drake's shoulder the whole time, the game will occasionally pull up and out to show you a little more of what you've missed, or a little less so that you can focus on what's most important. The level of detail and care that's clearly been put into Uncharted 2 is impressive, and that work pays off when you play and somehow lose yourself in the game for hours. When you dive into Drake's world, you kind of don't want to leave. Is that a bad thing? Hell no. I don't have a problem with that. Playing this game for hours at a time is not a problem. Playing any game for hours at a time is not a problem, Steve. Get off my back. Uncharted 2's gameplay is a lot like the first games, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't f***ing fix it. There are some cool new additions here and there, but the majority of your time will be spent climbing your way or shooting your way through area after area. Uncharted's signature platforming through naturalistic environments makes its triumphant return, with all the jumping, climbing, and dangling that you'd expect. And boy, is there a lot of dangling. It's like Drake's signature move in this game. But this time around, the uniqueness of Uncharted's platforming is a bit more accentuated. See, the platforming in Uncharted 2 isn't so much about leaping from one spot to the next as quickly as possible. It's not about testing your reflexes or speed. Instead, it's more like a puzzle. A navigational puzzle, but a puzzle nonetheless. Uncharted 2's platforming is about carefully studying your environment in order to reach your goals. This general philosophy is observable in the game's combat too. Drake can still pop a cap in his foes, but the shooting feels a bit more tight and precise this time around. As the game throws waves of enemies at you, you may feel the urge to take them down all quickly with guns ablazing. But Drake is not a space marine and he'll get murdered if he tries that. He has to think through his problems, which is why using cover to safely and strategically take out your enemies one by one, which could be thought of a combat puzzle in a way, is the way to go. Drake's unarmed combat capabilities further reinforces the wonderful meticulousness of the gameplay. When you get the chance to stealthily take out a group of baddies, you should take that chance, but doing so will require careful observation of the sentry's routes and patterns. But when Drake finally does take guys out ninja style, he does it more efficiently than Batman does. But then again, I'm pretty sure that Drake is actually killing these guys. Yup, that dude's dead. Drake is still a treasure hunter after all, so collecting treasures is still a big part of the game. These little hidden baubles are nice rewards for your exploration of the game's environments. You're still gonna have to keep a sharp eye out for their telltale sparkle if you want them, but honestly, stick to a guide if you want to catch them all. The medal system from the original Uncharted also makes a return. These things handily keep track of all your general gameplay progress and alert you of any milestones you've reached. It's a simple feature that really goes a long way to keep you playing. It's hard to put down the controller when you know another medal is right around the corner, and sometimes it's just nice to know how many headshots you've made. Thank you, game. Thank you for letting me know how good I am. But let's talk about the new stuff. Uncharted 2 includes several multiplayer modes that lets you and some buddies go up against a bunch of enemies in an arena that's based off of the location of the main campaign. Depending on the game type, you'll either have to take out as many enemies as possible or accomplish other objective-based tasks in order to win. And since the higher difficulties can be pretty brutal, you'll have to really work together and cover each other's backs. And if you want to go up against some of your buddies, you can do all your favorite types of deathmatch modes as well. However, for us in this review, this was removed from the PlayStation 4 port, so I ended up not playing it. Honestly, I'm a bit relieved. When it comes to single-player games and stories, sometimes I don't want to play online when I'm done. Most game companies tend to use multiplayer as a reason to extend gameplay, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. So, it's no sweat off my back. Since this is a remastered port, there are a few new things added to the game. There's 8 new trophies added specifically for this version, half really easy, the other half really difficult. There's a photo mode in which you can take a photo of what's currently going on screen, and there's the continuous speedrun mode, which gives you a timer, and you'll have to try your hardest to get the best time possible. I'd argue that the story of Uncharted 2 develops because of its gameplay. I guess that's what's cool about the Uncharted games. Their mechanics are quite simple on the surface, but the few mechanics that it does offer are honed to near perfection. The pacing of the game switches between platforming, combat, exploration, and cutscenes so well that you'll never get bored. It's just another way that the game invites you in, turns out the lights, and encourages you to get real comfortable.
We were almost in that.
Drake and his crew have had quite the journey up until now. In addition to traveling all over the world on his quest, Drake has reunited with his partner from the first game, Elena, been attacked by some nasty-ass Yeti creatures, and has actually located the lost kingdom of Shambhala. But unfortunately, Lazarevich and his goons trailed Drake, got the drop on him, and are now forcing him to open up the path to Shambhala. Once inside, the Yeti beasts attack again, and when Lazarevich manages to kill a couple of them, they're revealed Scooby-Doo style to actually be humans who have managed to somehow mutate into bluish Hulk monsters, whose sole purpose is to guard Shambhala from intruders. After another attack by these guardians, Drake, Chloe, and Elena manage to break away from their captors, leaving them free to search out the Cintimani Stone. But when they reach it, Drake realizes that it's not actually a jewel, but rather the fossilized resin that comes from the sap of the Tree of Life at the heart of the city. He also realizes that eating the resin is what turned the people of Shambhala into the giant, violent Smurfs that they are, and that Lazarevich is looking to have himself a bite or two. But just then, Flynn resurfaces with a mortal wound and live grenade, which seriously wounds Elena. Drake then goes alone to confront the big baddie, who's already roided up on immortality resin, making him incredibly powerful. But that's not going to stop Nathan Drake at all, who's still determined to take Lazarevich down. For the duration of this final boss fight, you're locked into a small circular arena with Lazarevich, who's constantly barreling you down with his shotgun. There are a few things that you've got to watch out for in your environment, like the fire pit in the center and the pitfalls around the map. Your weapons don't do diddly squat to him, so instead you're going to have to wait for him to get close to the giant clumps of resin around the area and blast them as he walks by. The key to this battle is to stay the hell away from him. If he gets his hands on you, he's going to deal a lot of damage. So it's all about playing a game of cat and mouse. Lead Lazarevich to a resin clump, shoot it, run away, and repeat until he falls for the final time. Or you could be like me and just glitch him out where you're just kind of in this one area and he keeps picking you up and grabbing you and just keep shooting the resin over and over and over again. Hashtag glitch boys. Literally, it's like unfair. He just picks you up instead of throwing you. You punch him and he puts you down and you just shoot the resin. Rather than kill Lazarevich himself, Drake lets the Guardians do it. They don't like outsiders eating their blue stuff. Hands off the blue stuff, Jesse. Drake crosses the crumbling bridge out of Shambhala, grabs Chloe and Elena, and gets the heck out of there. Elena almost succumbs to her wounds, but thankfully recovers with the help of Sully's bedside manner and some good old-fashioned Tibetan medicine. Chloe finally lets go of Drake, leaving him and Elena together and firmly closing the book on that love triangle. Unsure of what the future holds, Drake and Elena look forward to it with optimism and super sweet playfulness. Aw, I guess that means Drake's off the market, everyone. Pack it in, guys. Pack it up. Close up the CGI stuff. We're going to find another boy toy. Oh, hello there, Quantum Break Boy. Uncharted 2 features a slew of cool stuff to unlock and play with. Firstly, Crushing Mode makes its return, but in the Nathan Drake collection, you don't even have to beat the game to access it. In Crushing difficulty, the damage you deal to enemies is still laughable, and they can still kill you by sneezing on you. It may be punishing at times, but it's an entirely fair challenge for seasoned veterans who want a little more action. But when it comes to punishment, Crushing Mode has nothing on Brutal Mode, a brand new addition found only in the Nathan Drake collection. In this nightmare of a mode, Drake does virtually no damage to his enemies, there's a crippling ammo drought, and Drake— oh god! There he goes again. He just— and there he goes again. He just keeps— Fuck this mode. In Brutal Mode, death is Drake's natural state. It's that damn hard. I don't know who asked for this mode, but I really hate them. It's usually hard to pinpoint the exact line between challenging and frustrating. Well, I can tell you that it lies somewhere between Crushing Mode and Brutal Mode. This difficulty is only for a single achievement and bragging rights, and should only be attempted if you had godlike patience. And I repeat, godlike patience. Hey, remember those treasure collectibles from the first game? Well, finding them all is still a breeze in this one, as long as you've got a guide at your side. But even without one, hunting for them can be a lot of fun. When you're actively looking for those needles and haystacks, you end up seeing a lot more of the impressive world that Naughty Dog has built. Plus, tomb raiding is cool. The game also includes a ton of little unlockables that you can purchase in the bonus section of the main menu. Anything from concept art to alternate skins to weapons, and even filters for the game's graphics. The trophies for Uncharted 2 are honestly not as bad as you'd expect. However, due to the new remastered trophies, the difficulty skyrockets tenfold. There are some fun, even funny achievements, like Too Fat, Too Furious, which requires you to beat the game in one continuous speedrun as the Donut Drake skin. But between the Brutal trophy and the Needed for Speeder trophy, which requires you to complete the game under 3 hours and 30 minutes, prepare to drink a tall glass of bitter trophy bull. The unfortunate bummer for completing this game is the lack of reward you get for getting all the trophies. Kind of a letdown, especially considering how difficult the endgame content ended up being versus the original. Now, when you complete the PS3 version of Uncharted 2, you actually unlock the Marco Polo skin for online multiplayer. I'm happy to report that you can still get that skin in this game upon completing. I will add they also got rid of the entire money component, as there's no need for it because there's no multiplayer online. So instead of getting currency, you just get the skins. boss. But hey, at least you get to play as the clickety-clack Bone Man.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek.
Uncharted 2 is a blast to play through, at least 80% of the time. If you're playing on easy, normal, hard, or even crushing mode, then you're probably going to have an awesome time. But brutal mode is a sentence I would wish upon absolutely no one. No matter how good you are at this game, brutal mode is nothing but tedium. The firefighter is too hard to be fun. And I'm not even talking about enemies being too hard to take down. I'm talking about Drake going down after just 2 or 3 shots. In order to defeat brutal mode, you'll have to basically memorize patterns and behavior of your enemies in each and every fight, and that's no exaggeration. Just look at this part on the snow train. Drake doesn't even get a chance to move before he's shot down. Are you serious? Sure, you might get a chance to dodge every once in a while, but that's up to the Uncharted deities and whether or not they're smiling upon you that day. Beating the game as Donut Drake in the continuous speedrun mode is not that bad, since you don't actually have to beat it under any time limit. But if you're like me and want to try and reduce playthroughs, you want to try and lump that playthrough together with the Needed for Speeder trophy, which is a lot harder than it looks. And you'll need to just keep the mentality of pushing forward. Guys, I'm not a speedrunner, and to be put into that environment was incredibly stressful. Shoutouts to Trihex and the speedrun community for all what they do on Twitch all across the board. Mad respect. Outside of brutal mode and the speedrunning trophies, Uncharted 2 is actually a really satisfying game that's not too tough at all. Completing the game isn't going to take that much effort, but it will take a lot of time, which is understandable when there's so much content to play and unlock. In my playthrough of Uncharted 2, there were 58 hours of total playtime, 4 complete campaign playthroughs, 101 treasures discovered, 2,274 total deaths, 58,009 bullets shot, 785 headshots, and 1 Nathan Drake calendar rushed order from Amazon. Uncharted 2 pushed the limitations of its predecessors by improving on the old and adding lots of new stuff too. The final product is a game that provides tons of content that seems to keep on giving, which is why it's no wonder why people still love Uncharted 2.
Hey, jackass, you're ruining the show here.
Ah, what a shame.
Uncharted 2 for the PS4 Remastered is a fantastic time. It looks great, it plays great, but all the extra PS4 trophy content? So, with that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of Finish It.
Finish it!
So that's all time we have for today, guys. So please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. The question of the day for you guys at home is, what's an adventure game franchise that you really love? Whether it be Fallout or Uncharted or any platformers, let me know in the comments below or anywhere else on the internet. Now, if you excuse me, guys, go ahead and throw footage of me dying on the train. Uncut. It's just... breathe in my saltiness. My sodium levels at an all-time high.
They come. They come.